We are live. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but most of you know me as Lily. And today we are talking all about planning for 2025. So if that intrigues you, stick around, join the party, join us in the chat. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. I thank you. And we're just going to jump straight into this. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll do a Q&A at the end. And if you have questions, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and comment them because I will be checking and commenting as we go, even if it's not today. So, again, welcome to this 2025 live stream planning session. I am Lillian Hernandez, but you know me as Lily. This is my channel, Transaction Care. I am a full-time and owner of a transaction coordination service-based business. I am also the host of the Keys podcast, formerly known as the Transaction Care podcast. If you haven't already, I have a series on how to start a podcast, mistakes I've made, and why you should start a podcast in the upcoming seasons of your life. And I also do one-on-one coaching. So if any of that intrigues you, just visit my website, transactioncare.com. Everything will live there until further notice. And that is the best way to reach me in terms of general questions, trainings, coaching, listening to the show, watching these vlogs here. And I also have an exclusive community on Patreon. I call it my TC community because honestly, you guys are my community. You're not just subscribers, you're not just colleagues, coworkers, whatever the case. We are a community, and I want to spend a good chunk of my days building this community, meeting you all, engaging, having conversations just like this one because I think they're important. So if you want to learn more about my private community, which is for transaction coordinators within the first 5 years of their business, or maybe those that are seriously interested in starting a TC business in the upcoming weeks and months, you can visit learntotc.com. But again, everything lives on my general website, Transaction Care. So it's made easy to find and it's all on the homepage. So you don't have to click a bunch of buttons or tabs. I made it easy. And in this series of planning for 2025, last week we did how to start a podcast. This week we're how to plan for 2025. And then next week we're going to talk about how to be financially free. So financial freedom, debt-free journeys, all of that good stuff surrounding money. And we'll talk a little bit about money today, but for the most part, I just want to talk about planning for 2025. So let's jump straight into it. So we've been live for 2 minutes, and at the 3-minute mark, we will get started. So grab your waters, grab your notepads, and if you want access to my notes, join my email newsletter list. This is live, by the way. So you're going to see me drinking water, getting up, fixing my mic, and all that good stuff. So again, if you want a copy of my notes for this presentation, you can definitely just email me, tc@transactioncare.com, and just put 2025 action plan in the subject or 2025. And I'll gladly do that. But if you are a member of my TC community and my email TC weekly email newsletter community, which are two separate things, you will have a copy of this by the end of the week. So thank you. Now let's get started at the 4-minute mark. Okay, so 2025 action plan. How do we get started? Well, I'm going to list everything we're going to talk about, and then I'm going to break them down based on what I've just listed. So first of all, again, get your notepad, laptop, iPad, whatever the case. Or you can just watch, take notes, rewatch it 10 times, do what you got to do. And also tell a friend, tell a friend. So 2025 action plan, you want to have a word of the year, know your why, your wants, needs, dreams, goals, priorities, a timeline, and then we'll discuss money at the end briefly. And then a bonus that I did not mention in my promo for this upcoming vlog is we're going to talk about your values, principles, pillars, and your mission. So the first chunk that I discussed, I'm calling that the foundation. And then the second bonus aspects of this, I'm calling those the core. So we're going to get into the foundation right now and talk about the word of the year. So, what is a word of the year and why should you have one? So, first of all, do you have one in mind or do you already have, do you already do this? So, for me, my coach, when I was working with her, introduced me to this concept and, she described it as somewhat of like the theme of your year, the person you are working towards becoming or already are, and you simply just want to maintain that way of being. And that's how I've interpreted it as well. And over the years, when I was working with her and after I stopped working with her, I continued to implement a word of the year. And some of those words have been things that I've lacked mostly and wanted to learn to master and embody. For example, I went from one of my words was confident, and then the following year it became courage. So my word of the year, not this year, but last year was courage, and the year before was confident. Confidence, confidence. And then this year, 2024, my word was trust. And this entire year has really like the lessons that I've gotten without even me realizing and then sometimes realizing that I've been presented so many opportunities to learn different ways of trust and starting with rebuilding my faith and my relationship with God specifically. And this isn't about religion. Honestly, I follow God and just building my relationship with God, my faith, and learning to even just trust God, trust myself, trust the process. And as the year progressed and I was beginning to learn these lessons, I realized how much I was focused on the lack and I had really had a scarcity mindset for the majority of my life. So I turned and flipped the trust God, trust myself, trust the process, which helped me stay in line, into trust the abundance. And once I started to just focus on what I did have and not what I lacked, life got so much better. And that really transformed my life is just focusing on be embodying my word of the year, whether I realized it or not. And this is a part of, again, we're building our foundation. We're not building this for anyone else. We're building this for you. I'm building this for me and you're building this for you. So again, if you want copies of my notes, just join my email list. Go to transactioncare.com, submit your name and your email. Done. You'll get a copy. And then moving on into next year, my word for 2025, which I started to incorporate in my life when it hit me, because it just hit me randomly, is discipline. So my word for 2025 is going to be discipline, simply because that is an area that's something I lack. I'll go and I'll move in sprints or I'll operate out of response, but I lack the discipline to stay in something and then continue to build momentum. Like say I'll do something for 30 days and then I'll take another 30 days off of that project after I've just built up all of this momentum and attention. And I'll be like, oh, it's time for a break. I'll come back to that next quarter. And that's self-sabotage, something I've learned about myself, that I'm a serial avoider. So knowing that I lack the discipline in order to achieve what I need to achieve. And when you're self-employed, discipline needs to be almost like the number one thing you focus on. But it makes sense why I'm now going into my 7th year of being self-employed, which I should have mentioned in my intro. I've worked in the real estate industry for 20 plus years and I've been self-employed going on 7 years next year. So I must be doing something right to have lasted this long and really working on myself and doing exercises like this 2025 planning session we're doing is some stuff I do with myself on a regular basis. And Coming into this new year, I realized, it's not fair that I just hoard this information. I mean, one of my slogans is I'm giving you the keys, hence the name of my podcast. There are no gatekeepers here. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. And that's a play on words because I do work in real estate, but also I have encountered so many gatekeepers. I have encountered so many people that were either just, too locked in their world to share how they got to where they're going. But then I also had a bunch of podcasters and even influencers, celebrities that I relied on, for their knowledge, and entrepreneurs that I followed that were willing to share their information and willing to share their blueprint and how they did it. And in the 10 years of me investing time and energy and work into learning how they got to where they're at, it wasn't anything fancy. It wasn't even a dollar amount. Even those that started from the mud compared to those that started with trust funds, everything came down to these simple principles and concepts and strategies. Of course, I'm sure having money helps, and education and knowledge and financial literacy, having a foundation is key, which is why we're building our foundation together in this live stream. But closing out, the first step is having your word of the year. And again, as we're going through this live, you could work and do that, fill in the blanks as we go. But this is mostly just a general presentation of how I structure and prepare for my future, whether it's before the new year occurs, in the middle of the year, I can look to this list and say, okay, am I on track? Am I losing focus? And am I doing, where am I? Versus just kind of moving and navigating through this world blindly and living off of others, demands and requests and happiness and joy instead of creating that for yourself. So that's what we're going to do. And then I mentioned this earlier, but my word of the year also just hits me randomly. It's like mid-year, but if you're not sure of how to choose one, just write out a few words or people, places, things that motivate you, inspire you. See what really, what that brings out in you and what stands out, and try to narrow that down to just one word. But if you're an overthinker, like I often can be, if you don't trust yourself or you want to trust yourself even more, um, this is an exercise you don't have to overthink. But to cut through the fat and to overcome some of that overwhelming feelings of anxiousness or indecisiveness, if you're still unsure, then at this point, I will assign you a word for right now, and that word is decisive. So if you are unable to pick a word and you're spending way too much time on choosing a word and you're overthinking it, just let your word of the year for the upcoming season of your life be decisive. Embody that, master that, learn about it. Who are you when you are more decisive, when you take action as soon as you have an idea, or when you plan things out accordingly, instead of just continuously sabotaging or avoiding or starting projects and never finishing them. On to the next. So let's get into the next phase of this. So again, we are building the foundation, and a part of that foundation is what we just went through, your word of the year. And then next is my why, aka your why. What is your why? And make your why as clear as clean glass. This is the foundation in which you are building yourself up on. Your why is what you will reference when you have gotten the job done, when you've achieved your dreams, when you've achieved your goals, wants, needs, priorities, but also, and probably most importantly, you will reference your why when you are down, when you are struggling, when you are insecure, when you are discouraged, lost, the list goes on and on. In those times, remind yourself why you are choosing to do what you are doing. Revise your why also as needed, but don't give up on yourself. Don't throw everything away just because it didn't work out in the first week or the first hour or the first day. This is the work. I have a sign up here that says do the work. This is the work. So also I want to offer you guys a pro tip. When it comes to your why, your word of the year, write it out. Hang it on a wall. Like I just said, hang it on the wall. My coach gifted me the word courage with the definition on it, and I have it on my wall next to me. Make it your screensaver. Bring a notepad everywhere you go. I have notebooks everywhere, post-its, as a constant reminder for you to not lose sight. Especially if you're a person that easily forgets or gets distracted, maybe, you have a little bit of ADHD, ADD, autism, we're all human. I also know that I might have a little bit of both, be on the spectrum of both, to a certain extent. So that was our why. And again, you don't have to, get all this done in 1 hour. You really don't. You really don't. You can get this done in a 2-week, maybe even in the next 2 months span. This is deep work that we're doing. And the more you commit and invest in yourself, this is an investment in yourself. Investments don't always have a dollar sign. Investments can be just this, like getting to know yourself, really sitting down with yourself for the next 2 weeks, 2 months, and figuring out who you are in this stage of your life, in this phase, after doing the work or not doing the work. What do you want to focus on? And taking the time to answer these questions and fill in these blanks. So when you present yourself out in the world, you have more of an assurance of who you are and how to answer certain questions, and it starts with these simple prompts. Like, what are you wanting to embody right now? And for me this year, it was more trust in myself, but I first had to learn how to trust God to take the lead and surrender, because what I thought was working before wasn't. And once I just let go and relinquished all my stress, fears, life got so much better. And just leading with gratitude has been amazing. So let's now jump into our wants. And the reason what I'm doing, I'm writing down my timestamp. So when I break this up into different videos, sorry, I'm doing my energy drink while we're talking too. So, so when I break this up into separate videos or even separate clips, I have a good gauge, or chapters. I have a good gauge of, when I started certain parts of the live stream. And that way, for people rewatching, it's going to be hard to sit down and watch a whole 1 hour video sometimes. So I can at least break it up into sections for you guys. And I think that would be best. Okay. So the next section, once I get this drink mixed up, is, excuse me. Okay, there we go. I just have to fix something. It was bothering me. Let me just show you guys what I'm doing. So it's this vitamin electrolytes B12 energy supplement called Zip Fizz that I drink every day. It helps me with my focus. I do have a lot more energy after I drink it. But let's get into the next topic, wants. So this section, I had a lot of fun putting this together because I was like, what do I mean when I say write down your wants and your needs, right? And it didn't click until I started writing out needs. So this section, now I'm looking at my notes. I want to be transparent with you because I do have notes that I've written. So if you do want copies of these notes, just visit transactioncare.com, input your email and your full name, and I'll make sure you guys get a copy of my notes from what I'm presenting to you guys today. So you could reference them as well on your own accord and, really just invest in yourself. Be your own investor at this point in time. With 2025 around the corner, a lot of doubt, fears, and uncertainty are you know, in the air. And, we kind of want to armor ourselves to deflect from that and be stuck in those state of minds. So, wants. All right. So, this section is for you to write down things you have always wanted. They can be big or small, physical, emotional, tangible, intangible. The point of this is to identify if it is necessary or miscellaneous. Examples. I want to make $1 million. I want to call my mom more often. I want to travel to Japan one day. Wants can definitely happen with a solid plan, but if they are not urgent, then simply keep them listed as a reference until you have the capacity, the funds, time blocked to make an action plan when they become needs. Got it? Does that make sense? So, I'm sorry. Until they become needs, goals, and priorities. Remember, there's levels to this. And for now, keep it to about, 5 to 10 wants. You can even just keep one, but don't overwhelm yourself with, too much of a list just yet. Because mind you, this is just for 2025. This is not a 10-year plan. This is not a 5-year plan. We're just focused on how we can get ourselves together each year. And of course, you could dream and set as many goals and dreams as you want. But for now, this is just a fundamental exercise, especially for those that struggle with organization, self-awareness, clarity, taking action, all those things. Excuse me. There we go. I had a piece of food stuck in my teeth. Okay, so next section, needs. This section is for you to write down things you need. And again, like your wants, they can be big or small, physical, emotional. I said it again, emotional, tangible, intangible. The point of this is to identify if it is necessary, miscellaneous, a want, and if it is a need, how urgent do you need it? Here are some examples, which I had fun putting together, because I just kind of want to give you guys another perspective on ways that you can manage and have a little bit more self-awareness regarding your wants and your needs. Because oftentimes I feel like they can be confusing and cause you to go in a direction that you could have either delayed or avoided. But life is life, and we're going to still continue to trust and have confidence in the paths that we do take, and reference our why so we can get back on track. Okay, so here are some examples of some needs. Again, your needs will be different, your wants will be different, but these just came to mind, and I'll give you guys some pro tips after. So, okay, I need to go to the dentist on a regular basis. I need to call my mom more often. I need to buy an Audi RSQ8. Very specific. I need to plan a wedding. I need to pay off my credit card debt. I need to launch my business by April 2025. I need to lose weight, right? The list goes on and on and on and on. So here are a couple of questions that you can, now challenge oops, my phone dropped. That you can now challenge yourself, get more specific, be more, have more clarity in your needs and your wants, but more specifically in your needs. But ask yourself, why? Why do you need to go to the dentist? Why do you need to call your mom more often? Why do you need this Audi RSQ8? We'll get into that in a moment. When you said on a regular basis, what do you mean by regular? Is that 2 times a year, once a month? How much will that cost you? Where is your dentist? Do you still like your dentist? Do you have a dentist? Are you factoring gas? What are some alternatives to keep your visits to simple visits instead of major procedures? So oftentimes, the reason I bring up the dentist is because I've recently gone through a lot of dental procedures that were very expensive, that I was just throwing money at because I had no other choice. And I want, and we'll talk about financial freedom and financial literacy in the next series, because I think it's really important that everything I went through was for a reason. but to be on a different spectrum and not really have an awareness of how I was spending my money really hurt me. Um, but I'm taking the lessons and I'm just sharing them with you all in hopes to, you know, help you save yourself because I can't help you. I got to save me, you know. But let's think about the dentist example again, right? So if you can't afford something in your need list, or in this scenario, the dentist, can you afford something related to your oral health? Meaning you're still ensuring that your hygiene is on point. You have a consistent schedule of taking care of your teeth. You're not just waiting for the dentist to fix you and tell you it's wrong. This is, preventative care and healthy hygiene, healthy habits, self-care. It all fits under that. So in the meantime, until you can create a solid plan or frequency for you to go to the dentist more often, look around in your surroundings. Like, could you buy a water pick, quality toothbrush, toothpaste? How often are you flossing? Up it to 3 times a day, after every meal, every snack, anytime you eat or drink. The list goes on and on. And another alternative is, have you researched your dentist? Do you have insurance? Is it going to cost you? Like, this is an investment in you, but every decision is going to require time. Not every decision should or needs to be impulsive, because sometimes that can result into reckless patterns and, constantly having to quit and start over, and never really building that momentum for yourself because you didn't want to spend 30 minutes working on this project, or picking a quality dentist, or creating a oral hygiene, self-care routine for yourself. This is work, but we got to do the work. I'm probably going to put the sign right here so it'll be in my videos more often, but um there's always work to be done, especially if you are self-employed. There's always work to be done. But the most important key is that you get better. If you're running a multi-million-dollar company one day, are you going to want to worry about dentists and toothbrushes and I mean, you have to, I don't know who would do this, but you still have to floss and brush your own teeth. But what I'm getting at is, like, if you take care of that stuff now, in the long run, you won't have to worry about it as much. Okay. Now, and again, the small steps will eventually add up and get you to the finish line. So it all requires these little nuanced steps when it comes to breaking down what your needs and wants are, why you're doing things, and does it correlate? Is it in alignment with where I want to be in life? And again, these things, you can have your list, but it doesn't have to be so rigid and to the T, because life is going to life. So make sure you give yourself grace, but we'll get into that shortly. Um, so then you can, do a self audit when it comes to your wants and your needs. And the reason I brought up the Audi was because that's one of my dream cars. I actually have it on my screensaver right now as a reminder, because for a long time, I I was just so laser focused on, like, I got to get the luxury car. I got to get the luxury car. But I wasn't thinking about who I needed to become in order to be a person that owns a car like that. And I really had to become honest and truthful with myself. Like, do you really want that car? Like, are you really, like, is having this car an actual need? Or do you just need a practical vehicle that's good on gas, reliable, low maintenance, that'll get you to and fro, has a good sound system, enough chairs for people to sit in, and use that money towards something else, paying off debt, saving, investing in your business? Or mindset shift, renting your dream car on the weekends, once a month, once a year, when you're on vacation, versus being stuck in reality with an expensive car note, maintenance for a car that was way out of your budget, high interest rates, gas, inflation, insurance. Let's not forget about insurance, repairs, damages. All of those things are going to be 10 times more when you increase your lifestyle. So I realized I don't want to get caught up in lifestyle creep and be stuck with the vehicle that's going to prevent me from doing so many other things in my life. And one thing being self-employed has taught me is like when I've had the money and wasn't able to manage it compared to when I had no money and had to learn how to be more mindful and conscious of my spending, it made me realize and get creative with how I envisioned my life and how I saw certain things as goals in my life. Like, do I really want the vehicle or do I want the experience? And does the experience have to occur every single day or can it just be a moment in time? It's kind of deep. You know what I mean? And of course, this may not apply to someone who is just printing money on a daily basis and rich out of their mind. But this, I'm talking to the everyday person with a 9 to 5, or you're self employed and making less than 100K, less than 50K, barely hitting 30K. You know, how can we still have those luxury items, but in a way that is still affordable and realistic in our lifestyles today? And, it comes down to, okay, well, if you want a Lamborghini Urus, can you actually afford it to maintain it every single day? If the answer is no, then move on. But I've been on plenty of trips where I'll go to a enterprise parking lot and there's a Lamborghini Urus in the parking lot waiting to be rented out for a couple $100 a day, maybe a few hundred for a weekend of lifetime memories. I don't have to worry about the maintenance. I don't have to worry about the overhead. I don't have to worry about the depreciation of the vehicle. I got what I wanted. I got what I needed, and I get to save money. So it's all about that mindset shift of just seeing things differently, but still embodying the person that I need to become in order to achieve purchasing my dream car, my dream home, my dream vacations. I can't just rely on luck. I have to meet my blessings halfway and do the work. Some things, hey, life surprises me all the time. But if I'm just out here always floating and waiting for things to come to me, I I'll be more disappointed than than excited a majority of the time. So I have to do the work and invest in myself and meet my blessings halfway or all the way. And um yeah, but yeah, ultimately you don't have to compromise your wants and your needs. Go through them. You can even rank them in order of importance to you, but also just get super clear and specific as to why each item on that list is important to you. So that way, when you have the urge or the impulses to spend money or be reckless, or you think you have a little bit of extra, um, refer to this list and say, oh, wait, before I go buying these 20 backpacks that are on sale, let me look at my list of wants and needs. Oh, yeah, I need new workout shoes. Let me go buy that instead. Or, oh, yeah, I'm saving towards my dream car. Let me hold off on these 20 backpacks because they were 20 for one. Like, no one needs, unless you're going to donate them. Like, no one needs that many backpacks. I don't know where I'm getting this backpack example. Maybe because my backpack is right next to me on my door. But again, we're halfway through this exercise. We're about 30 minutes in. So if you're watching this on the replay, what questions do you have? How do you feel about your needs versus your wants? How do you feel about the mind shifts that are required in order for you to achieve these things before we get into our dreams and our goals? Um, I am a firm believer that anything you put your mind to is possible. But sometimes how you think about those things is what's holding you back from actually getting there. And I'm a product of my own limited mindsets and limited beliefs and self-sabotage and avoidance. Um, and I'm doing the work to get out of that. So when I do encounter moments when I want to run away, when I want to just be deflated and discouraged, I have to look at this list. I have to remind myself or open up my app and say, okay, these people are choosing to follow me and to learn from me. I need to show up from them. But if I don't show up for them, then I need to be honorable and have integrity and tell them, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I need help. I need help. And this is all a part of doing the work. So, and this is why one-on-one coaching is very important, because it is hit in the short amount of time that I got coaching. I got coaching for a good 2 years in a row. It unlocked so many things for me. It identified so many blind spots that I wasn't aware of. It showed me a different path for my career. It showed me that I really do care for other people and their well-being, and being a person, being a vessel to help them in their journey, in their walk, because I had been through so much that I wanted to just share what I've learned, so the next person or persons didn't have to struggle so much as, in the ways that I did. We're all still gonna have our own struggles, but if I could get you further, if I could have your starting point be further, closer to the finish line than mine was, then I know I'm doing okay. And if you wanna work with me one-on-one, go ahead and visit transactioncare.com/coaching. It's all on my website. You could schedule a quick discovery call, a one-on-one session, or if you're more of a group community-based person, I have all of that available on my website, transactioncare.com. I'm actually going to pin this in the comments because I want you guys to have easy access to this information without interruption, without any resistance, because I know how I get. If you don't make it easy for me, I'm not going to do it. Life is too overwhelming, and there's so much going on at all days of the moment. I just did 3 things in this 10 seconds that I was here on live, you know what I mean? So I just think one-on-one coaching especially is just invaluable, and like you really can't put a price on it or whatnot. It's worth the investment. And I'm a coach that is willing to work with you, whether you can afford it or not. I don't want to restrict or block access to the help that people will need, because this isn't about just today. I'm panning out. I'm thinking long term for all of us, long term success, because even though I may be your coach, you're teaching me. I learned so much from my coaching clients over the last 2 years that I could not have ever learned on my own. And working more and putting in the reps gave me the confidence and courage to do more things, like host a podcast, do more live streams, do more focused topic focused presentations like this one, giving you guys the keys, changing my name of the podcast because I knew this was bigger than me. This is beyond just real estate. This is beyond just transaction coordination. And the only way that I've gotten there is doing the work, but also having a strategy like this one, this 2025 action plan, in order to gain that clarity. So if you want to gain more clarity for your next steps, decreasing the overwhelm, limiting beliefs, and gaining more confidence and courage to keep going, because clarity is so key. Clarity is so key. Again, visit my website. I'm here. Comment, coach, put me in, and I will gladly reach out to you as well directly. I don't want anything to get in the way of you unlocking the best you. So, with that said, let's have some more fun and jump straight into dreams. Let's talk about, let's talk about our dreams. So, what are your dreams? Answer me that question. What are your dreams? Big, small, medium, list them out. And be audacious, be courageous, be vulnerable, be you. My company, First Class Dreams LLC, that's who the checks get written to. That's, who makes the money. Not Lillian Hernandez, in a sense, because eh, because I was audacious and I still am audacious. to dream big, to win, to lose, to fail, to fall, to stay standing in all aspects of my life. I prioritized my dreams. I didn't have my dreams in coach. My dreams were and still are sitting in first class, VIP. And because of that, I am so grateful. So, in what ways are you putting your dreams, are your dreams in coach right now? Are they still, did they get left at the gate? Did you miss your flight? Or are they sitting comfortably, easefully, quietly in first class, ready for takeoff to get to your next destination? So I have a firm belief, again, that anything is possible. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it. And I know it sounds cliche, and everyone that's already gotten to their finish lines always say that. Like, anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Yeah, I believe them because I know how much work it takes to get out of the mud. Like, imagine yourself sitting in mud right now, stuck, trying to pull yourself out by yourself. Do you know how to ask for help? Do you know how to use your whole body? Or are you just going to let the mud overtake you and give up? We don't give up over here. If you're watching this and you've made it to the 41-minute mark of this live stream, you're not a quitter. Get that in your head. You are not a quitter. So again, think about your dreams. And if you're the type of person that doesn't dream or doesn't believe in dreams, then what is your vision for the future? That can spill into your goals, just to keep you on track. So think about what your dreams are and what dreams you want to put in first class, and then just get going with life. Because now this is going to actually bring us into our next topic, which is perfect timing, right? And again, all of this will be accessible if you join my email list. Just go to transactioncare.com, put in your name and your email. If you've already joined, you don't have to resubmit or do anything. I already got you. Okay, goals. Let's talk about goals. This is fun. Some people have goals, some people don't. And I think that's okay. There's no right or wrong way of doing this, but for me, I'm very goal oriented and I need structure. That's me. I'm very goal oriented and I need structure, which is why next year, my word of the year is discipline, because I can have all the tools. I have like a mini home gym, but I don't touch any of this stuff. But then when I sign up for classes and have accountability people that I go work out with, I'm more likely to go out, and do the thing. So I need to come up with be more disciplined with my at-home gym and have goals and do all this if fitness is important to me and a priority, and a goal. So goals, what are your top 1 or up to top 5 goals? And if it helps, this is how I break down the categories of my life and set at least one goal in each of them and then execute. And again, life is not perfect. Life is going to happen. I don't get everything done every single year, but I just am always working at it and chipping at it and building my reps. So when it does start to click, even if it's 2 years from now, I'm always going to be grateful that I put in the work 2 years ago. So this is how I break down the categories of my life, and you can use the same framework or create your own. First, number 1 is mental, emotional, spiritual health. Then physical, fitness, nutritional health. So mind, body, right? And then I have personal goals. This can go back to your needs and wants. Then I have business, which is career/work. So if you're self-employed, an entrepreneur, or you have a 9-to-5, full-time, part-time job, side hustles, this all falls into that category. Then the next one are my financial goals, which can encompass anything from investments, being debt-free, creating other strategies to increase your savings, asset allocations, diversifying, all of those things, buying real estate, buying stocks, bonds. This all falls into that category. And then next are hobbies. So this past year, I started playing tennis. I started taking step aerobics. I started playing basketball again, which is one of my joys. I started going live and doing live streams, which I find is so much fun. So you just got to find what your hobbies are, with people you love, solo, things you've never tried before. I remember in high school, we used to have electives. I used to take pottery, art classes. So think about things you want to try and go join a club or go on YouTube, take some lessons. You want to learn how to crochet, then go buy the materials. Then as you advance into your hobbies and have, continue to have fun and want to build community, you don't have to. These can just be for you at your leisure. Join a club, start a club. I'm considering a 40 and up basketball club. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm putting it out into the universe so we can play together, talk basketball, do all the things. And even saying it out loud, I just felt like a shift of like, yeah, that's got to happen. And also, finally, well, two more things, but your education. So after hobbies, what are your educational goals? Because the learning doesn't stop. Always be learning is what I say. Always, always be learning, because it's the skills that are going to take us far in life. You know what I mean? And when stuff hits the fan, what are you equipped with? What value can you provide someone else in exchange for resources like money, clothes, food, shelter? You know what I mean? And some people will be generous and you don't have to exchange anything, but I feel like education, skills really make people confident. Because I've seen a lot of people struggling to articulate themselves or get stuck at their jobs because they don't feel worthy. They don't feel valuable because they don't have a college degree, or they were dyslexic, or they always got in trouble, or they're lazy, or they procrastinate. Those are all symptoms of something bigger. So don't beat yourself up because you have struggled the majority of your life. You have an opportunity to get out of that hole. I dug myself out of that hole many a times. Now I'm like, there's no more hole. I'm just out here in the world, fully exposed, vulnerable, ready to learn, ready to try, ready to win, ready to fall, ready to fail, ready to challenge myself, ready to meet new people, ready to start new businesses, ready to be more creative, ready to have more fun. You get the idea, but you got to do the work. And finally, what are your big goals long term? We're not going to get into 5-year, 10-year plans. Again, this is simply just for 2025. So if you are struggling with, how do I set goals? Think about your mental, emotional health, spiritual health, physical fitness, nutritional health, your personal goals, business goals, which is career/work, your financial goals, which is whether it's becoming more richer, wealthier financially, becoming debt-free, starting businesses, whatever the case, buying real estate, it all goes into that category. Then we have, my camera's the opposite. Your hobbies, education, always be learning. And what are your big goals long-term? 2-year, 5-year, 10-year plans that will really, solidify where you're going in life. It's not going to be perfect. I've outgrown many of my goals, many of my desires, many of my wants, needs, dreams, and goals. I woke up one day and I was like, yeah, I don't need to own real estate. I want to, but it's no longer a need. And that's okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to pivot. Don't let anyone else bring you down because you changed your mind. But question, did you change your mind because you gave up and are living in a state of discouragement and negativity? Or did you give up because you realistically knew, like, this no longer serves me in my soul, in my heart? in my body. I was getting allergic reactions. Like there was just too much resistance. This isn't for me. Then yeah, keep it moving. Question, major question here, right here is, pro tip. You're allowed to adjust your goals, targets due to uncontrollable circumstances, outgrowing your goals, but not because you didn't feel like it. Challenge yourself and take action. So what I'm saying is adjust, change your mind, but don't just give up because you didn't feel like pursuing it. Give yourself a chance. Challenge yourself and take action. Okay, guys? Okay. Bonus question. How do you handle rejection? This is key. I realize this. I feel like if we were taught how to handle rejection early on in life, in all of these categories, little by little, as it compounds over time, I think this world would be a much better place, because oftentimes decisions, leadership, power trips, ego trips are based out of spite instead of productivity, instead of out of kindness, empathy, grace, love. I'm going to read exactly what I wrote because I don't want to miss a step. But this may be okay. Question: how do you handle rejection? How do you handle rejection? This may be a major deciding factor in your life decisions as to why you are not where you are in life according to your dreams and goals. Take time to unpack this question, but remember to keep going. You are a new person, blessed with the time, aka opportunity, to keep going. So, how do you handle rejection? Something to ponder, because you're going to experience rejection when it comes to all the things that you want and need and dream and set goals for. You are going to experience rejection. And for me personally, the reason I posed that question is because I didn't realize until I turned 40, and it didn't happen like on my 40th birthday. I'm talking about in these last 6 months of being 40 and having done a lot of work on myself, I realized that I had been stuck in this rejection bubble that I put around myself so I wouldn't have to face rejection. So I was playing it safe. I was people pleasing. I was being quiet, not standing up for myself. A majority of the time, not all the time, but I was just living in this bubble of rejection that I thought was safe, but it was actually hurting me in the long run because I was so discouraged and deflated about life that I just nothing felt worth pursuing, truly. And I know I had to go through that to get to where I'm at today, where I do feel more motivated and inspired to not just help myself, but to help many in this world, who were in my shoes when I was in my early 30s, considering quitting my job or just changing my life, quitting drinking for a year, seeing what that was like, and giving myself another chance to see life from a different lens that wasn't always hungover, or that wasn't always losing money because I was just throwing it out every weekend, drinking it away, sleeping it away. You know what I mean? So, how do you handle rejection is my question that I'm posing for you in the middle of this exercise, because that is the armor you're going to need in order to face life when you are working for you. When you are really putting in the work to take care of you and care for yourself. So, as we transition and move on to the next topic, give that question some thought. Let me know how it goes. And if you want to talk about it again, I do offer one-on-one coaching. If you want to join my community, it's all available at transactioncare.com. So, with that said, let's now jump into the next topic, which is priorities. Now, I want you to list 1 to 3 based on everything we just talked about. Remember, this exercise, don't rush to do it. Give yourself at least 2 weeks, 2 months before 2025 even happens, if you need to. Because now we're going to take everything we just talked about, reflected on, answered, listed, and everything you've written down, your wants versus your needs, your dreams and your goals. It's now time to narrow it down to your priorities and rank them. Number 1 priority, number 2 priority, number 3. And if you have more, go on and on with that list. But take your time with this and make sure you have at least one priority at the end of this exercise. Because I don't want you to move on from this like, oh, that was a great presentation. I stayed for the whole hour. And but then you never take action and you never apply any of it. So by the end of this, I want you to have at least one priority, not the end of this live stream, but at the end of you putting in the work. What is at least one priority that you want to focus on? And again, take your time, but pro tip, you do not have to have your answers filled out by the end of this live stream. Like I said, give yourself time and really just sit with every line item and make sure it is in alignment with where you are today and where you desire to go. Got it? Cool. So, last couple things on the docket. I'm thirsty. Okay. So, finally, on this major list, like I said, we're going to talk about money, but I want to do a whole separate series on money and financial freedom and discuss that on its own because it is its own conversation. It's its own series. It's its own beast. But for now, to wrap up everything we've gone over, I want you to focus on now your timeline. When are you going to get these things in motion and really take your plan and put it into action? Take your goals, set a plan, set dates when you want things done, and be realistic. Be realistic. You know, you don't have to overextend yourself if you don't have the capacity. If you're someone that has a large family that you manage, or maybe you're low funds right now, but you're trying to buy a Lamborghini by the end of the month, like, is that really realistic? And do you really need the Lamborghini, or can you just rent it for your birthday coming up in 6 months? Save up for that and then put your money towards a high yield savings account. You know, again, perspective, but really quick, last point, timeline. Let's talk about our timeline. So the first strategy I want to offer you guys is based on a book that I love. I'm actually going to reread it before the year ends, and it's called The 12-Week Year. So this is the strategy I want to offer you guys, and go read that book, please. It's called The 12-Week Year. Putting it in the chat. Excellent book. It really helped me to, again, narrow down and focus on my priorities, but mostly like the one priority. Instead of having to stretch myself thin and doing 5 million things at once, trying to get all my goals done in quarter one, no. We're going to sit and be vulnerable with that one priority, with the one. But let's get into it. So since we are just discussing 2025, let's break up the year into 12 weeks. And again, this is loosely based on the book, The 12-Week Year. If you haven't already, your homework will be to read this book. I would pair it, honestly, with Atomic Habits and then read The 12-Week Year. But if you want to just jump straight to it, read The 12-Week Year. So also the 12 weeks does equal technically 1 quarter, which is a 3-month period throughout the year. But that's not how we're going to frame this conversation. Of the 1 to 3 things that you listed as your priorities, which is number 1? And your number 1 priority is what we will be focusing on in that first 12 weeks of the year. Or if you want to start today, then 12 weeks from today. It does not have to be January 1st. Oh, excuse me. In fact, none of this has to happen or start on January 1st. Today is November 13th. You can start November 13th. You can start November 14th. You get the idea. What I'm getting at is your number 1 priority. Those 12 weeks can start anytime, but you got to commit the 12 weeks to that number 1 priority. And again, embody it. embrace it, become it before you just give up. Experience it. And then you can assess and pivot as you go or after those 12 weeks are done. And again, it doesn't mean within those 12 weeks that I'm going to have that Lamborghini Urus by the end of I'm going to have that Audi, my dream car in 12 weeks. Maybe. I don't know how committed you are, but this is just to build the right habits and to reframe your mind to focus on your priorities instead of it being wandering in 20 different places and you feeling unaccomplished or insecure or doubtful and discouraged. So focus on your number one priority for the next 12 weeks and only that, and really give it your all. This does not mean that your other goals and priorities suffer or get ignored. This just means that you can climb those mountains or hills and walk those paths as well, but you need to get through this one first before you get to those. I once hiked a volcano and I was looking around me. I was like, there's a bunch of other hills and mountains before I get to this volcano. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I had to get through that. I had to do the thing to get to the thing. It's a simple concept. I say that to myself every day. Do the thing to get to the thing. What is the thing? My goals, my dreams, my wants, my needs. But none of that happens unless I prioritize the main thing. So do the thing to get to the thing. And, full transparency, vulnerable moment, but the most trouble I had in my business was when I was doing too many things at once and spreading myself too thin. So keep that in mind. Do the one thing before you get to the next thing. And mental note, this will require a lot of discipline on your part to commit to and get going. And, you don't have to rush the process. And if you find yourself, slacking or if you find yourself slacking, go back to your why. Remember your dreams. Remember to give yourself grace. Pan out. Don't be so focused on and locked in this moment. Pan out and visualize the bigger picture. You'll get there one day. You'll get to that goal. But for now, you are here. But when you see that vision, it's like marathon runners. There's checkpoints, there's stops for them to rest. No one's just running 26.3 miles nonstop. Some are, but I imagine you'll need the bathroom. You'll need a little bit of water or rehydration of some sorts, a snack, even if it's just one time. Take a deep breath and keep going. So I hope that is helpful to you in 2025 because I feel excited for all of us. I know that 2020, and I'm claiming it. I know 2025 and on will be the best years of our life. And if you follow this framework, you'll be much better off for it. And before I close out this live stream, I do want to mention that money, financial freedom, is key to all of this, But it's not the only key. But it is a topic I do want to focus on. So stay tuned for our financial freedom discussion in the next series. And one question I will leave you guys with before we round out this conversation surrounding our 2025 action plan, but regarding money, is do you want money or financial freedom? That's the only question I'm going to leave with you. And we'll get into that in the next series. But to summarize things and get into our bonus conversation is we built our foundation, which was built upon our word of the year, your why, your wants, your needs, your dreams, your goals, your priorities, your number one priority, setting your timeline, and then thinking about money. So what did you mean when you said you had bonuses, which I did mention earlier at the beginning of this live stream, is the core. So we built the foundation and now we want to focus on the core. And the core are our core values, our core principles / pillars, and our core mission statement. Like, what is the mission? What are your values? I Googled what are values and I looked through a bunch of words, statements. I sat with it one Saturday and I wrote everything out. I was like, what words relate to me and where I'm going in life? And I narrowed it down to 3. And I actually I have it on my board next to me. I had it down to 3, but now I have my values. I have 5 values that will keep me on my square. And they are: number 1, fun, respect, creativity, trust, and integrity. Those are my core values. And then the key pillars and the core pillars that all of this is going to be built up off of the foundation is service, community, and authenticity. And then my mission is to motivate, to inspire, to uplift, encourage, and be of service to others. I could get more clear with it, but I just wanted to just get to the point. You know what I mean? And who I uplift and encourage, it's out of my control. If you're watching here right now, say hi. This is live. But I just went through everything to get us in order for 2025, and I'm pumped. I hope this works for you. If you want a copy of my notes, just visit transactioncare.com, enter your name and your email, and I'll make sure this gets to you. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can. Everything will live at transactioncare.com, but you can also just send me an email directly and just say, help me, 2025 planning. I need your help. You can email me, tc@transactioncare.com. But again, everything lives on my website. I made it as easy and simple as ever for you guys to access with one click. I know once I start clicking too many times on a website, I get over it and I want to move on to the next thing. Or squirrel, I'll get distracted and forget what I was doing. So as soon as you visit my website, everything is there. I have things that are free. I have things that you pay for. I have things that, again, more free stuff than actual paid things, but mostly take this whole live stream and rewatch it. Invest 1 hour for you to better yourself for an entire year and years to come. Trust me, it works. I'm going on my 7th year of being self-employed. I've had money. I've lost money. I've made money back. I've gone through it all. But I felt my strongest when I implemented these things in my life. And that's when I had the least money. So it's not about the money. That's why I didn't even talk about money in this presentation. That's why the money talk is going to be a whole separate series. I didn't feel like this was necessary. This is a free way to get yourself in order, to get yourself back on track, to learn how to give yourself grace, to learn to have more self-awareness. So again, if you want notes to this, just join my email list and you'll get a copy of it. And again, everything will be in the description of this video. But I thank you guys for spending the last hour and some change with me. Thank you for your patience. If you do have any questions, I am going to stay on for a few more minutes. Go ahead and just drop them in the chat. If you want me to go over anything again, provide more clarity, whether it's your word of the year, how to create your why, your wants, your needs, your dreams, your goals, your priorities, your timeline, we can do that. Otherwise, this has been a pleasure. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily because this is our house that we're kicking it at. And I'm giving you the keys to unlock the best you. And if you haven't already, visit transactioncare.com where you can listen to my podcast. You can watch these YouTube videos and my training series that are absolutely free. I don't charge anyone for these. Everyone's going to have access. If you're curious about transaction coordination or just building community within this industry of like-minded people that are either self-employed, working towards being self-employed, wanting a career in real estate, then go to my my TC community platform, which can be accessed at learntotc.com, learntotc.com. But again, everything lives at transactioncare.com, and I'm making it as easy and clear as possible for you guys to get this information and feel a lot more confident and courageous to get at this life, because it's not easy. It's not easy. Every day is a choice. And the fact that you've made a choice to be here in this live, to rewatch this live, to share it with a live, means that you actually do care. So, with all of that said, thank you for being here in this live stream, whether you're watching it in 2024, 2034, 2054, whenever, 54, I don't know. As long as this exists, I'm grateful to have shared this time with you guys today. More to come. Stay tuned. Please subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm so grateful. And until the next one, I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon. That was good, guys. That was good, good, good. Appreciate it. I'm out.